Ellen has asked me to make a comment about the link between responsibility, action research and responsibility, and the notion of human flourishing. The point about action research, as I've said elsewhere, is not simply to understand the world, but to change it. And why is that important? Apart from the fact that the world needs changing, is because, as John McMurray argued, the Cartesian idea of I think, therefore I am, is not the whole human being. We are not whole human beings when we're simply thinking. We're whole human beings when we're acting, and acting in a way that includes our thinking, our artistic forms, and our experience. In some sense, when our action is coming out of our sense of inquiry in the world. So if action research is intending to change the world, we have to ask, well, what are we changing it for? And so at the heart of action research is always a question about what is worthwhile. What are worthwhile purposes for us to pursue at this moment, or in a longer term. And so that's why, so in order to say what is worthwhile and to provide a kind of general response to that, we first of all talked about human flourishing, and then in the Handbook of Action Research later we've talked about human flourishing and the flourishes of the ecologies of which we're a part, but you can't really tangle those two things apart. So in any inquiry, we start off with saying, well, this is an important thing to look at. And then you may have arguments about, well, what's really the most important thing to look at? So just a very simple example, when I worked with doctors on the theory and practice of holistic medicine in England, we got to a situation where some of the doctors were interested in holistic medicine as an expression of mind, body, and spirit. And we had another section of the inquiry group who was saying, yeah, but the most important thing is the political issue, the sense of, are we actually liberating our patients to make their own decisions? Mind, body, and spirit may be completely irrelevant to them. And the one group was saying, you're too airy-fairy, and the other group was saying, you're closed, you're holding the whole thing too tightly. So there was a question of, well, what's our purpose in exploring holistic medicine? And these two things would take us further apart. And if we could bring them together, we would understand more deeply our sense of purpose. I think that's the best I can do. The extended epistemology, the idea that we're here to change the world rather than just understand it, leads us to include practical knowing, doing things. And doing things that is not going to be habitual, that is going to be filled with a process of inquiry, needs a continual inquiry alongside as to, is this worthwhile? Or, as my friend Peter Hawkins puts it, who's a management consultant, what can you do? What are you uniquely placed to contribute to the humanity and the planet at this moment? What can you do uniquely? What is worthwhile that would make a difference that you could do? And I think that sense of what becomes worthwhile to do changes through a developmental process, whether you're thinking of that in integral terms or spiral What's-it-terms or Bill Torbert's changing action logics. That in the early stages, one is simply opportunist, one's simply seizing opportunities for one's own benefit. At later stages, one sees what is worthwhile is the development of a whole organization. But at the later post-conventional stages, one becomes interested in nurturing the whole capacity of an organization or a culture to behave in ways that are inquiring. So the sense of what is worthwhile shifts from the immediate to the organizational to, dare I say, the transformational. So I hope that helps. Thank you.